Welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'll be explaining if the Atlanta Falcons can bounce back from last year's Super Bowl defeat. That's coming up on Brandon's Sports Talk. Thank you for joining me on the channel today, everybody. Now, I know you guys are probably wondering, how can the Atlanta Falcons bounce back from a Super Bowl that they lost so devastating? How can they bounce back from that? But you guys have to realize that they did not lose anybody significant on this team last year. They actually got better. So a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, the Super Bowl hangover. I don't believe in that. I believe you go to Super Bowl, yeah, you lost, whatever, but this team got better. It's not like how, no disrespect, but the Carolina Panthers, they lost their corner after the Super Bowl, and they started to diminish and go down. They had no corners, but the Atlanta Falcons are actually a very, very good team that got better, drafted good players, and actually got better. So I think this team could win the division. As you guys seen in the previous video, I said Tampa Bay is also that team. I think these two teams will be competing to win the NFC South. But moving on to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan had an MVP season last year, though he played really, really well. I think that he'll be more confident this year because for that Super Bowl loss. Just before I go any further, having that Super Bowl experience and just being there to me is a whole nother level of excitement that a player can gain from being there. So I don't think Matt Ryan's gonna have a down year. I think he's gonna do really, really well. Now, the one thing people are saying, oh, they lost their best offensive coordinator in football and Kyle Shanahan. I don't. Steven Sarkisian, who was a coach, he's the new offensive coordinator, who was a coach in college. I think he's a good coach. Like I said, he had his problems, whatever, but I think that he'll be a good coach for Matt Ryan and still running the same offense that Dan Quinn wants them to run and agree upon. I think this team will still Matt Ryan will do well with Steven Sarkisian. Now, the quarterback is covered. Now look at the running back situation. Devontae Freeman, they still have him. They just re-signed him. They have Telvin Coleman. They drafted Brian Hill, and you still have Teron Ward. That's basically 4 running backs along with your quarterback. To me, that's as solid as your running game could get. They have 2 running backs along with 2 others, one they drafted and one they had last year, who they all went to the Super Bowl. So like I said, having that Super Bowl experience and just being there to when I have that itch to get back, I think that this team will do fine. Julio Jones, wide receiver, the best wide receiver in the game. Like I said in previous videos, if you're a fan of Atlanta Falcons or a fan of any team individually, period, you're going to say that your team's receiver is the best receiver in the league. Like, if a Giants fan says, oh, well, Odell Beckham is the best in the league, that's their guy, so they're going to say that. But just focusing in on football, specifically in the game period, Julio Jones is the best receiver in the football. Now, people may disagree, but it's my opinion. I'm the guy that loves football, and Julio is the best receiver in the game, period, hands down. He still has Julio. They have Mohamed Sanu, who's over 6'2", another solid tall receiver along with Julio Jones. They also still have Taylor Gabriel, who's a great slot receiver. And they added kick and punt return Andre Roberts, who I think will help out in the return game tremendously. I think that he can just focus on that. So Taylor Gabriel could really just focus beyond the slot and not return kicks or anything like that. So by Andre Roberts being the kick and punt returner, he can focus money on that. So if you look at the team so far, me breaking it down, they still have their quarterback who was MVP last year. They still have their running back. They have 4 running backs now. They have 4 wide receivers. They have Justin Hardy as well, who's a fast receiver. So then they have 4 receivers and a kick and punt returner. Right? So they have the quarter, running back, and wide receivers. Look at the tight end, Austin Hooper, who I think is going to be a good tight end. think about this. He was a rookie who went to in the first year of his career going to a Super Bowl. Now, I don't know how people take certain things, but if I was a rookie tight end and I went to a Super Bowl, yeah, okay, they lost. Yeah, you lost, but there's a brighter side to losing that you can come back and win. Like I said, I don't believe in hangovers. That's just people doing that so they can put negative stigmas on you. I personally think that being a rookie and going to the Super Bowl in your first year and having that experience of getting to the playoffs and know what it's like to win, as for him being in their tight end, I think he's going to step up huge this year. The offensive line is the top 5 O-line in the game right now, period. They're now the only negative spot that's on the offensive line is the right guard. Chris Chester, who was there, retired. So I think they just added Austin Pasteur. I think that's his name, if I'm not mistaken, from Cleveland Browns, who was the right tackle. They actually moved him to right guard, so he kind of fills that avoided spot that was left open. So I think that by having him at right guard instead of being a tackle, because you already have a right tackle, you have a left tackle, you have a left guard, you have a center. The only spot that was missing was a right guard. You basically filled it with the right tackle, who was getting up there in age. I think he's still like 28, 29, but being in Cleveland for so long, I think that by having him as your right guard, it puts the Falcons offensive line in a better situation than it was without a right guard. So to me, this offensive line is still the top 5 O-line in the NFL. Now, moving on to the defensive side of the ball, you guys get Desmond Trufant back. He was your best corner. And here's the good thing about the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons were so good on defense and had good corners that everybody forgot about Desmond Trufant. Desmond Trufant was a rising top 5 corner league before he got hurt. So by having Desmond Trufant back with this team, I mean, it doesn't get any better for this team. I mean, like, I forgot that he was even there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I forgot that he was there. So by having him back, it's just a whole new person. I think he's gonna be 100% healthy. I don't think he's gonna have any setbacks. Like I said, I don't think about negative things. The only thing I criticize is negative football play. But coming off injury, most positive vibes. Shout out to him. Hopefully he's back 100%, because I think that by having him back, this secondary is going to be very, very scary. Now you have Desmond Trufant back. They re-signed him on a 5-year deal in April. Now, also, Robert Alford, solid number 2 cornerback for the team. Like I said, you get Desmond Trufant back. He may have to move over to be number 2 corner, but he's still a solid corner to me. You have Ricardo Allen, strong safety for this team. Solid, strong safety, no questions to be asked. Keanu Neal, who they drafted in the first round last year, pick number 17. To me, solid free safety. Was a great draft pick for this team. So you have 2 corners. Desmond Trufant coming after injury. Robert Alford, Ricardo Allen, and Keanu Neal. I think that's how you say his name. I apologize if I say his name wrong. So just based on that, your secondary is complete. No holes in the secondary. You also have Jalen Collins at corner, who, instead of being the number 2 corner, now he can move to the nickel, because obviously Desmond Trufant's coming back, so he would be moved to the nickel, but he is suspended. Like I said, I don't get into off-the-field issues, whatever that is. Hope he clears it up. I'll see you back in 4 to 6 games, whatever if it was 4 games or 6 games that he was suspended. I'll see him back when it's time for his suspension's up. Hope he handles the situation off the field. Now that I did the secondary, the corners and safeties, the linebackers. See, what's so good about this team is that they have their linebackers, just like Tampa Bay, as I said in the previous video, that their whole linebackers are filled up. They have great linebackers with this team. Now, me personally, Devondre Campbell, who's the left outside linebacker, I think that he should be moved to the right only because because he's been in this defense for a whole year. I think that him having more experience than their draft pick and their third round pick and Duke Riley, who I think is going to be excellent at the right spot. I think they should just switch because obviously the right outside linebackers are on the field more than left. Sometimes in certain defensive systems, having just linebackers, but I just think that he should be on the right. Now you have Deion Jones, another solid middle linebacker, coming off his first year. He's a solid starter for this team. He's a second-round pick coming off a solid Super Bowl. So Deion Jones, I think he's going to be very, very good next year. Like I said, more experience for this young, hungry defense to get back to that Super Bowl. I think that they're going to be more hungry this year. Now, moving on to Duke Riley, left outside linebacker, who I see that they're going to put him on the right, which I have no problem with. I just think that, other guys should be, Devondre Campbell should be on the right, but no sweat. But Duke Riley, I think he's going to play very, very well. I think he's going to play very, very well. I don't care if he's a third-round pick. If he is what this team think that he's going to be, I think Duke Riley is going to do an excellent job for this team, being on the right side, being on the field more. I think he's going to get that experience and play very, very well with this young defense because everybody in this defense is very, very young, and just having some veterans that's been there for a while and everybody being young and hungry and coming off that Super Bowl loss, I feel like that will push Duke Riley to, it will put him in a better place mentally to play well in his first year. Like I said, there's no pressure on him. He's a third-round pick, but I think he's going to play he's going to do very, very well. Now, Grady Jarrett, solid defensive tackle, your number one defensive tackle. He's a solid. Played the Super Bowl. He sacked Tom Brady 3 times. That's hard to do. That's very, very hard to do. He did in the Super Bowl. He's a solid defensive tackle for this team. Young cat. Hell of an upside, and I think he's going to do very, very good. He was a 5th-round pick in 2015. Like I said, he's a solid starter now. Like I said, it took a year for him to get it together and get that experience under his belt. But 2015, 2016, and 2016 and 17, that second year, he really got it together. So this will be his 3rd year. So I think that he'll be a good defensive tackle now. Donatere Poe, like I said, if I say his name wrong, apologize, but solid D tackle from Kansas City. A great free agency pickup for this team. That's 2 defensive tackles right there, along with your linebackers and your safeties and your corners. You can get no wrong from there. Now, moving on to the defensive line. Vic now, I think Vic Beasley is listed he's actually listed as a left outside linebacker as well, which to me, Vic Beasley is a defensive end. I think he's a defensive end, so I'm just going to put him as defensive end on my paper, but if he's a linebacker for the team, I don't think that's a good spot because you already have good 3 linebackers. Like I said, Vic Beasley had 15.5 sacks last season. To me, he should have been Defensive Player of the Year, but he can get it this year, get it next year, but Vic Beasley, to me, defensive end, he's solid. Then you drafted Starkeeson McKinley. I think that him being another defensive end for the team, if he is what he was touted to be in college, being that first-round pick at defensive end for this team, I think he's going to be phenomenal. So let's do a quick rundown. Quarterback position, you had your MVP from last year. You got 4 running backs. You have all your wide receivers. Nobody really left the team. Your tight ends, your offensive line is good. The safeties are good. Your corners are good. That whole secondary is just a stout. Your linebackers, your defensive tackles, and your defensive ends are very, very, very good. Like I said, adding Donatere Poe, I think he adds a lot of pressure to the defensive line, especially playing in a 4-3. He dominated in the 3-4 defense with Kansas City, so being in a 4-3 defense, I think that this defense is going to be great. Offense was already great last year. The defense is going to step up more because they have more experience under them. So, like I said, this team to me, I mean, like I said, on my other previous videos, I have to look at the schedules to see how hard the schedules are. But in the most part, I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to win the NFC South easily, hands down. To me, they didn't get worse in the Super Bowl. They actually got better after it. So, like I said, I don't believe in Super Bowl hangovers. I think this team, every position on this team is filled. So, with that being said, the Atlanta Falcons, I got them going to the playoffs again. Let's see if they get back to Super Bowl. If not, at least they can get back to the playoffs and still show that Super Bowl hangover talk is nonsense. But thank you for joining me in this video. Hope you subscribe, like the video, share, comment, give me your thoughts about what you think about the Atlanta Falcons, how they're going to play this year. Until next time, I'll be back with more content. Have a great day.